At this point, you should have finished creating your triangles and moving on to quadrilaterals, which is basically a bunch of rectangles. So I'll do the first couple, and then you try out the rest. I'm going to go in here to CATiA, and we'll start a new part. I'm going to go to 3D and select part design. And then remember, the first thing you need to do is get the part body underlined by using the define and work object. We're going to select sketch icon. Now I'm going to show you a new way to get into sketch. If you have an axis, there's a little L shape representing the YZ plane. I can click on the YZ plane and the sketch icon will automatically appear. And also when I do that, I don't have to hit OK, it just automatically jumps into that. And instead of going line by line to create these, I'm going to use a new technique called profile. Under profile, I can select a point, and I'll start here at the 1, 1 position. And I'll come over here. I'm using my grid. I know that that line is 2 inches long, and it says 2 inches in that little tiny text. Almost worthless, but I know it's 2 inches because I'm using my grid to set that up. And I'm going to slide over here to set this line, and then set this line, and set this line. Notice that just allowed me to do a rectangle or a square in this case all in one stop. Now to set the grid, if you didn't catch that, again, it's going to be in your legacy preferences. I hit the wrong button. Under preference, you have legacy preference. Under mechanical design and sketcher in the specification tree, we want to be at primary spacing of 1 inch, graduation at 4. If this unit is metric, you've got to remember to come back to parameters and measure and make sure that the tab units, this has been set to inches. Okay, and you also want to have this to 4 places, and again, this doesn't come on until you click in there, then the magic button shows up and you want to make sure that that's checked on. Display trailing 0. And again, all of these are individual, so you have to do them all individually as you go down to change the units and also your precision. Okay, with me being in inches for length and under the sketcher mechanical design, a primary spacing of 1 inch and the graduation of 4, you have 1/4 inch increments to every solid grid. The primary grids are 1 inch apart and the graduations are 1/4 inch apart. Alright, again, I want you to make a Word doc and make a snapshot. This is going to change the name to square. Okay, and then you're going to make a new part. Under 3D, I'll select part design. Going back to the directions here. So I just showed you square and rectangle. They're basically the same. Okay, this is a rhombus and parallelogram. Also, we have a shape kind of looks like a kite, so I want to show this to you. All right, so for this one, I want you to use polyline for all 7 of these. Again, you're going to use select the plane and go into sketch. Oops, remember we can't switch to define and work object after the fact. You must exit out of the sketch environment, make the part body the in-work object. Then we can select this icon here for the plane, select the sketch plane. I'm going to slide this down out of my way here. And we're using, under sketch, we're using this one here called profile, also known as a polyline. Okay, it just depends on what CAD system you're using, but we're going to create the one that's called kite. And using polylines or profile, I'm just going to make shape looks kind of like, I guess, something like this. what I wanted to show you here is maybe you didn't get that quite long enough. Instead of recreating it, there's an icon here called trim. Okay, so on the bottom there's an icon called trim, and if I hit trim and I select these two lines, it will trim the lines so that they actually meet. And then I want to show you some other tricks here. I'm going to switch my line to an axis. If I switch this line type to an axis, I'm going to make kind of like the bones here of the kite, and it'll do another axis from here to here. Okay, and if I want these lines here to be more pronounced, what I can do here is open up my sketch, and I can use my control button and grab all the 4 lines I created first. Right click on all 4 lines and go to properties. Under properties there's a tab called graphic, and you see the color is black, so you could start learning to change colors of things. And then also line type. These are, if I had created a bunch of lines and want to make them look different, I can change the different types of fonts, line types I mean, or I can change my thickness. I can make this a bit thicker and hit apply, select OK, and now you see that's got a little bit thicker here on the outside pronounce of the kite. Okay, so again, you're going to right click on this, go to properties. We're going to name that appropriately under the reference tab. The name would be kite, and I'm getting that because that's what they called it. Alright, but I threw in a little extra and had you throw in some backbones on that. Alright, that's your tips. See if you can create the remaining polylines or polygons, or no, quadrilaterals, sorry. We're doing all the quadrilaterals. In the next demo, you'll be doing the polygons. After you're done making a picture of each one, make sure to submit that to Canvas so you can get credit for this. That concludes this demo.